You know how it is. You adopt Agile hoping for, well, smoother projects, quicker results. And often, yeah, that works great. But when
Hmm.
your projects balloon in size, complexity, juggling multiple teams, those same Agile methods can sometimes feel like they're just bogging things down.
Yeah,
You see deadlines slipping, budgets creeping up, and maybe you don't even hit the original vision.
that's a really astute observation. I mean, traditional Agile, it's a fantastic framework, but it does inherently rely on human effort, you
Oh,
know, for coordination, execution.
right.
And as you scale, the potential for human error,
Yeah.
communication breakdowns,
Yeah.
it inevitably
Well,
increases.
that's precisely what we're digging into today. We've seen some really compelling stuff exploring how artificial intelligence, particularly this generative AI concept, is starting to fundamentally reshape agile project management.
Yeah.
Think of it as a maybe a significant evolution for those, established agile principles.
Absolutely. This deep dive, it really aims to show how AI can step in, address those inherent limitations of the manual agile processes.
It's about leveraging AI's capacity to process, to analyze information, stuff far beyond, frankly, human capabilities. It offers new avenues for efficiency, for insight.
Mhm.
And our sources today, they really zero in on two key initial areas. First, how AI can help um, fill up your project backlogs with truly outcome-focused information.
Okay, outcome focus.
Yeah. And second, how it can analyze your project data to spot any gaps between your big picture strategy and the actual work getting done on the ground.
Okay, let's unpack that first point then about the manual processes. You mentioned traditional agile can sort of struggle with scale because of this. Can you
Yeah.
can you give us a clearer picture of what that looks like and how AI offers something different?
Well, what's fascinating here is just the sheer volume of information that large, complex projects generate. I mean, humans, we're great at spotting certain kinds of patterns, right?
Sure.
But when you're dealing with massive data sets, intricate webs of dependencies, our capacity just becomes limited. Simple as that.
All right. Tasks like analyzing huge amounts of data to find subtle relationships,
Hmm.
or even just ensuring consistency across a sprawling backlog,
Hmm.
it can become incredibly time-consuming and prone to errors when it's all manual.
Yeah, I can see that.
AI, on the other hand, it can process this information at, well, remarkable speeds
Hmm.
and identify connections that might just be completely missed by even the most diligent human team.
And this generative AI that, I mean, everyone's talking about it in the business world.
Yeah.
What is it really at its core, and why all the excitement about its potential?
So generative AI,
Hmm.
it's a type of artificial intelligence that can actually create new content
Yeah.
based on the data it's been trained on.
Create new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Text, images, code,
Yeah.
even predictive models. The generative part is key. It's not just analyzing or sorting existing data, it's producing something novel.
Okay.
And for businesses, I mean, this opens up a huge range of opportunities. Automating tasks that used to need human creativity, analyzing data for much deeper insights, better decision making. It can even spark innovation, by identifying potential new products or services.
Right.
Ultimately, it's about driving big gains in efficiency, productivity, and competitive advantage.
So let's bring this back to agile projects then. Where specifically can we start to see AI making a real tangible difference?
Okay, so one key area is definitely in creating those foundational agile artifacts. Your user stories, epics, requirement docs.
Right, the building blocks.
Exactly. AI can actually work with your product owners, your dev teams, to generate higher quality versions of these things much faster than starting from scratch.
Faster and better.
Potentially, yeah.
Mm.
It helps ensure they're well-defined, consistent, and truly aligned with the bigger objectives. And another really powerful application is analyzing those complex backlogs we talked about.
Okay.
AI can sift through them, identify dependencies between different work items, pinpoint potential gaps or inconsistencies, which can significantly speed up the whole agile lifecycle. Help prevent those costly delays you mentioned earlier.
Now, the material we're looking at uses this March 2050 launch case study. It's from Atlassian, right? Can you walk us through that example? Show how it highlights these challenges.
Certainly. So imagine this scenario, right? The big business goal is increase space shuttle launches
Right.
from, say, 3 per quarter to 4.
Okay, ambitious.
Yeah. And one key initiative to support that is drive down costs and increase ticket sales. So to make this happen, a product manager creates an epic called March 2050 Launch.
Got it.
Now you've got at least two teams involved. A software team focused on March 2050 website updates, right? And a propulsion team working on March 2050 increased propulsion efficiency. Two different streams of work.
And the material, it shows two different ways this backlog might look, right? Two figures.
Exactly. Figure 1, that shows the ideal. A well-organized setup, clear hierarchy, consistent naming, makes it obvious these two features roll up into that main March 2050 launch epic.
Yeah, nice and clean.
But then figure 2 shows, well, something perhaps more realistic in bigger companies. You just see Epic 1 and Epic 2, maybe different product managers, teams working kind of siloed. The visual cues, the consistent names, they're gone. So it's not clear at a glance if or how they're connected.
Right, and you can immediately see how that kind of disconnected structure could cause problems. Teams may be working on related stuff, but in isolation.
Duplicated effort.
Overlooked dependencies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tons of manual effort, just coordinating endless meetings probably.
Precisely. And that's exactly where generative AI offers a really powerful solution. It has this capacity to analyze these huge, complex backlogs
Yeah.
and spot those underlying relationships, those dependencies that might not be obvious to a human.
Especially when data is scattered across different teams, maybe different tools even.
Exactly. But, and this is a critical point to understand, the AI's effectiveness. It's directly tied to the quality and consistency of the data you feed it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If your backlog is a mess, lacks detail, well, even the smartest AI is going to struggle.
So going back to figure 2, with those vague Epic 1 and Epic 2, material mentions asking ChatGPT if they're related and getting, what, a low confidence score?
That's right, like 4 out of 10. Because
Yeah.
without more detail, consistent naming, clear descriptions, ChatGPT can only make a very superficial guess. A human, with more context, might infer a connection. But the AI lacks that real-world grounding without the data. It really highlights that you can't just, dump raw, messy data onto a Gen AI model and expect magic.
So it's way more sophisticated than just like running a keyword search across your backlog.
Absolutely. And the material makes a really important distinction here between, say, basic compliance checkers you find in some tools.
Right, like description must be 50 characters.
Exactly, which is easy to game, right? Just type some filler text. It doesn't mean it's meaningful information. Generative AI has potential for much deeper analysis, but it needs that solid foundation of good quality data. That's why the material really emphasizes using Gen AI up front to help clean up and organize backlogs, inject that missing detail, that consistency. They even mentioned Evergreen AI's Product Manager Copilot as an example tool designed specifically for this, leveraging like decades of agile coaching knowledge to do it fast.
That makes total sense. So given the power of these general AI models, why not just use something like ChatGPT for all this agile stuff? What are the limits when you apply it to this specific area?
Well, the material gives us a really telling example. Using that same March 2050 launch idea and prompting ChatGPT to write an epic for it.
Okay.
The initial response is pretty generic. It lacks those crucial elements of a good epic, like clear problem statement outlining the business outcome, the benefits you expect.
Right, the why.
Exactly, the why. And even when you follow up, specifically asking for a problem statement, the output still, as the material says, needs work.
So while it can generate text that looks like an epic, it doesn't really get the underlying principles of good product management.
Precisely. And that's the core difference. ChatGPT doesn't evaluate its own output against best practices. It doesn't engage with you in a sort of guided, iterative way. It doesn't enforce a consistent structure.
Okay.
So to get truly valuable stuff from ChatGPT here, you need to already know a lot about product management and how to write really good specific prompts. The burden's all on the user to direct it and judge the results.
Which brings us to this product manager co-pilot concept. How does that approach things differently? What makes it potentially so powerful specifically for Agile?
The Product Manager Copilot, or PMC as they call it, is engineered specifically for this job. It combines generative AI with AI agents. Think of agents as like specialized AI programs for specific tasks that collaborate.
Okay, like little specialists.
Kind of, yeah. And it's augmented with this huge knowledge base from decades of actual Agile coaching. So it's designed to partner with you, to guide you through creating and refining requirements. Well, you give it that same launch meet prompt, right? The response is way more focused. It suggests a meaningful title, previews the structure, and immediately proposes a well-defined problem statement. But then it goes further.
Oh.
It internally evaluates its own suggestions and then asks you clarifying questions like, what's the current page load time?
Yeah.
Or how will you measure success for that Saturn summer sale? It needs more info to make it really good.
So it's acting more like an intelligent assistant. One that gets the agile context and actively helps you build better requirements by, like, collaborating?
Exactly. It's kind of like having an experienced agile coach sitting right there with you.
Okay.
It guides you through each section of the epic, offers suggestions, asks insightful questions, and the output is structured so you can easily copy-paste it into Jira or Azure DevOps or whatever you use. Plus, it can even look at your existing artifacts and help fill in the blanks or improve them.
Wow, okay. That sounds like it could be a genuine game changer for breaking down those silos we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
I mean, if AI helps create more consistent, detailed epics with clear problem statements, that has to lead to better communication, better alignment between teams, right?
definitely. By making that crucial info more accessible, more consistently structured, AI fosters better communication, better collaboration. Everyone gets a clearer picture of the goals, the why behind the work,
Hmm.
and the material points out using the PMC for those Epic 1 and Epic 2 problem statements. It took minutes, not the hours or days it might normally take.
Minutes versus days. Okay.
And then remember how ChatGPT gave a 4 out of 10 confidence score for relatedness before?
Yeah.
After adding those PMC-generated problem statements, they asked again. The score jumped to 8 out of 10.
Wow. Okay. From 4 to 8. That's a huge difference.
It really underscores the point. Gene AI can infer these relationships, these connections in your project data, but it needs enough high-quality information to work with.
Right. More detail, better analysis.
Exactly. The richer, the more consistent the data, the deeper the insights it can pull out.
Yeah.
And while, yeah, a good hierarchy in your tools helps, AI can also help find those hidden links, even when the structure isn't perfect.
So, okay, we've covered how AI can help with backlog management at the team level, but the material also touches on connecting all this, granular work back to the bigger strategic goals of the whole organization. How does AI help make that connection?
Yeah, and this is where the potential gets really transformative, I think. The material expands that March 2050 example. Imagine a more realistic setup.
Hmm.
Multiple teams, different tools all over the place.
I,
Software and propulsion teams and their ALM systems, marketing using SharePoint, HR managing resources in Workable. Get the
uh
picture.
Yeah, standard large company setup.
Right. And they're all working towards common objectives and key results, OKRs, like reduce operational expenses by 10% and increase ticket sales by 15%. Now, picture a project manager trying to manually oversee all of that, running status meetings for everything, trying to spot risks, dependencies across all those different systems. It's incredibly complex.
It sounds, frankly, almost impossible for one person or even a small team.
Pretty much. But AI offers a way to bridge these divides,
Mm.
to connect all these apparently separate pieces. The concept introduced is this AI lens.
AI islands.
Yeah, it essentially pulls data from all these different systems, even unstructured data like documents, maybe images. Then it uses generative AI to create something called embeddings.
Embeddings. Okay, what are those? Like a code for the data?
Sort of, yeah. Think of it as translating all this complex, varied data into a more structured numerical format that AI algorithms can easily understand and work with. It helps capture the meaning and relationships in the data.
So it's like creating a common language so the AI can understand and connect data from all these different silos.
That's a great way to put it. It simplifies the data, but without losing the crucial context. So it can pull info from the software and propulsion epics, but the AI still knows, okay, this relates to the software team, this propulsion. You can bring in marketing plans, maybe HR data about hiring timelines carefully, of course, respecting privacy.
Right, PII and all that.
Exactly. And this AI lens, it can be updated in near real time or maybe daily, giving this constantly evolving view of the entire organizational feedback loop.
Wow.
And if you start layering in historical data, you can even begin to predict project schedules, estimates, with much greater accuracy over time.
So it really shifts from just managing individual projects in their boxes to providing a holistic view, seeing how all the work actually lines up with and contributes to the big strategic goals.
Exactly that. I
Yeah.
mean, in today's markets, things change so fast. Being able to ensure your execution, your day-to-day work, is tightly aligned with those big business objectives. That's absolutely critical.
More critical than ever, probably.
For sure. AI can empower you not just to react, but to proactively plan, ensure all your efforts are strategically aimed at those long-term goals. Instead of seeing data in silos, you start to visualize the organization with strategy at the center and AI providing that lens to see how everything connects.
That is a really profound shift in perspective. Okay, so as we bring this deep dive to a close, what would you say is the single biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the integration of AI into agile project management, it's more than just a small tech upgrade. As the material suggests, it really signifies a kind of
The
renaissance.
Renaissance.
Yeah, it's about fundamentally changing how you plan, how you execute, how you monitor projects, the potential for, big gains in efficiency, much more informed decisions, and crucially, that stronger alignment with strategic business goals.
Right.
It's truly immense.
So the really crucial question then for you, our listeners, is this. How prepared is your organization to embrace this AI-powered evolution in project management? It really sounds like moving beyond those traditional agile practices, adopting these kinds of intelligent tools.
Hmm.
Well, it could be the key to staying competitive, driving real innovation.
Hmm.
It's definitely worth thinking about how AI can shift from just, helping tidy up your backlog to becoming a true strategic partner and actually achieving your organization's vision, something to really mull over.